It's October the 9th, 2024. I am Natural Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. A happy Wednesday to you. I hope it's a wonderful Wednesday. That's the word we use here. It's wonderful. Everything is wonderful, and so are you. Today is a jam-packed show. Not only is Jeremy Lambert here as always, but also MLW star Delmi Exo is going to join us at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Talk about re-signing with MLW. Fightful Select had the exclusive last night, along with the announcement that we'd be having her on the show this evening, or this morning, I guess it is. So we're looking forward to having that. Jeremy, I'm all turned around. Wrestling is all over for the rest of the week. I don't know what to do. How are you feeling?
Well, that's not true. Well, what?
Well, it depends who you're talking about.
We got a show on Friday. We got a show on Saturday.
Allegedly.
We got a show on Thursday.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the show on Thursday?
Yeah, ROH and allegedly TNA.
Right. We have first run content on TNA to talk about.
Yeah.
Crest will be back for that, so that's fun.
There you go.
How you doing otherwise?
There's a show tonight, probably somewhere in the world.
I was gonna say, if you can think of a show that's actually airing tonight, first run, like a known show.
Why are you discriminating?
Because it's so easy. Did they announce this match?
What
that
match?
Matthew Hooks has put up on the screen here?
What?
Hologram Beast Mortos, 2 out of 3 falls. Did I miss? Was that announced last night?
No, it was announced like an hour ago.
Well, there you go. I haven't been on the internet until today, so there you go. Like just now, 10 a.m. Eastern.
No.
Well then, hello. Let's get the party started because we got plenty to talk about between Raw and last night NXT and Title Tuesday, Dynamite, all that stuff. Wrestle Dream is Saturday. There's TNA on Thursday, and there's SmackDown on Friday, and KO beat up Cody Rhodes, but you can't talk about it. And there's a pay-per-view this Saturday, so there's no Collision on Saturday, but there is Rampage allegedly, I guess, because they taped it. And there's a lot going on. And again, leave a thumbs up on the video because we're gonna get through all that. And why not just subscribe to here? Subscribe to us here at youtube.com/fightful. Once again, youtube.com/fightfuloverbooked. Whoop that trick. They really tried to get that over last night.
I don't think they tried. I think they did it.
I guess it was they were trying to match it up. They were just trying to get the flow. It took them a few minutes, but they got there. It was fine. It was
Sometimes
good.
you got to find the beat a little bit, you know?
Yeah,
they had no snare in their headphones, but it got there.
I also got a super chat offer for you all. Send us a super chat and email, get your question or donation read on the air, your question or your statement or whatever it is. I'm all over the place. My kid's home today from school.
What's your offer? Wait, I thought you were going to offer the people something.
Yeah, they send us the super chat. We read the question or statement on the air.
That's a terrible. We offer that every time. Like,
not every offer is a special offer, Jeremy. I didn't call it a special offer. I just called it an offer.
You made it sound like, there was going to be something like special out of this, Joel.
Nope, I did not use the word special in any of that pitch. Therefore, just a regular everyday offer.
All right. Yeah, that offer sucks.
Yeah, well, tell it to the people who actually pay their hard-earned money to support us here, which we appreciate. And thumbs up, get your fireworks. Yeet. Where do you want to start? We got 2 days and 3 shows to cover. And happy days are here again for Jeremy Lambert. Are you playing around with your latest update on?
Yeah, I finally updated it. I did the Zarian turned me on to this.
Yeah, when he was on the show.
Yeah, I updated it. Look at this. I can be in a rainbow.
Oh, look at that. You're just like, are you about to give the keynote speech at an Apple address? Are you about to give the keynote speech at an Apple? Are you about to
upload pictures? Hold on.
Oh no, that sounds awful. No good can come with that. Oh, this is gonna be bad. You're looking through your meme folder.
Hold on. Oh, there we go. Look at that. There's the broken table that I went through in the background.
Allegedly.
I don't have a meme folder. I'm not like Sean. I just got pictures. You know what I mean?
That's true. We have established that you are not a meme folder type of person.
Yeah. I don't have, that sounds terrible to have like a meme folder. What if, let's see.
Oh, you're still looking for stuff.
I got a lot of pictures, Joel. Okay.
Just make sure they don't get us demonetized.
You know what I'm saying? Well,
Careful now.
fair. Yeah, fair. What if I had like me in the background of me? That'd be
Yeah. Tom did that on a Fightful post show before with Kate.
Who?
Tom Campbell.
Oh.
Yeah, he did a special appearance for an ROH post show. Don't ask me why, but Kate had him, and his background was multiple Kates.
Oh.
Seemed really bad.
Sounds terrible. What if I just have?
Oh, I love this. Jason saying you should do the Garrett Gonzalez, where you have Meltzer's office in the background and it's super messy.
What if I have this photo? Just
It looks like they're kissing with
yeah.
Sorry, audio listeners. You're missing it. If you're not watching us on YouTube, I don't know what to tell you.
If I duck, like then, oh, there we go. Look at that. There we go. Screen there. Then the camera and the chair pops in there.
I think someone made a Photoshop of them actually kissing.
Yeah. I think I actually have that too. Or at least I used to.
Yeah, Ryan excited in the chat. There you go.
I got other photos that like I've downloaded. We can the problem is I got like very dumb photos.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I'm gonna like just pop this up. Oh no, I know what that is actually. It wouldn't get us in trouble. It'd be fine. Let's see here. Riveting stuff.
Yeah, we're finding the best content this morning.
Yeah.
Look at Cody's ear in this photo. It's really
Why are you looking at the man's ear so much?
Because that tattoo, man. Look at these two men with their neck / behind the ear tattoos.
Yeah.
We're used to the Punk one. I guess now we're getting more used to the Cody one.
What? We're used to the Cody one. I'm more used to that than Punk.
That's because the Punk one you don't see as often. It's not as garish.
Very prominent.
Yeah, you have to see it.
I just got photos from like, I got to use the thumbnail on like articles. So all my photos are just from like NXT and AEW last night. So
just do what the True Heel Heat team does and use the background from our latest episode as your background.
What about this? There we go. We got the whoop that yeet going on.
You got to get one of those Avalanche WWE commemorative titles to really make the full effect.
Although I have a screenshot of that.
No, but I'm saying if they got gold, and by the end of that segment,
I'm not spending like $400 on that ugly looking thing.
I think it's like 700 Canadian, which made it even worse.
Yeah, that thing's terrible.
What if somebody offered to buy for it? Actually, someone pointed out that it looks exactly like the Speed title. They just replated the Speed title design.
Oh yeah.
I
guess a little
Ryan.
bit.
It was Ryan. It was Ryan. It's so bad.
I'm just gonna keep this picture of Trick and Jey Uso up.
That's fine.
I look like I'm hanging out with the whoop that Trick, whoop that eat guys.
What a night NXT was. Actually, you know what? Because Ryan did send a super chat and it's factual. Let's break down the NHL season. Habs are bad. Well, that's just par for the course, Ryan. Habs are terrible. Looking forward to the Ottawa Senators bringing home the Stanley Cup this year. It's going to happen.
It might be okay. The Habs, I don't know.
Probably not. I mean, how are the Avs looking?
I think they're just always bad. They'll be fine.
Ryan's saying he got gifted the 49ers WWE title and is garbage looking.
Why?
Is it garbage looking because it's the Niners, or is it garbage looking because it's like cheap quality?
They were in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, let's give them a little bit of credit here.
I mean, I'm not saying the Niners are a garbage team. Maybe just the design isn't very good.
Could be a garbage team.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of garbage teams. I don't watch football. Oh, we're back to the sky.
Yeah, we're gonna be in the sky for the show.
Jeremy is very sky blue today.
Yeah.
No, they're not in Chicago, so we can't really bring her out again.
I actually like this little background gimmick they have going on. I'm gonna start utilizing this instead of what everybody sees every single day behind me.
You know that StreamYard has always had this, right?
Yeah, but StreamYard is like not as good. What can you do on StreamYard?
That
See, that sucks.
you can also add your own too.
Oh, can you? Yeah, but see, you get glitchy and choppy. It doesn't look as good.
That's because you need a proper green screen.
Eh.
When you do this
Do
one,
the fireworks still work? Can we get like the fireworks in the sky?
see, look at that. Now I'm
Oh.
Daniel Garcia making my decision.
Look at that. See, it still pops up.
Yeah, it's still bad. Well, look at that. All right, I'm done with that. Yeah, they recommend a green screen because that's what you should be.
Yeah, we don't have green screens. We just, the Apple does pretty well over here.
Yeah, my MacBook is old, so it can't update past 2017. No, 2020. No.
Anyway, we allegedly have a lot to talk about, and we spent the first 15 minutes of this show not doing any of that.
It's been 11 minutes, pal. What are you talking about?
Well, it's 10:15, so that's what I said.
That's fair. Okay. Well, here we are. Oh, let's talk about. Where do we want to start? Do you want to start on the thumbnail? No, let's start with.
I don't know why you made this the thumbnail. I was gonna tell you, like,
honest to God, because what else was it gonna be? What else? Tell me what else. Someone shout out what was more newsworthy from Tuesday night, not from Monday night. What was
why are you being deist against?
Because
Monday?
we do things on a certain cycle here.
Yeah, but it was a special because AEW happened to run on a Tuesday. Typically, the thumbnail would have been something from Monday. Yes,
typically it would have. However, there was really nothing on Monday that warranted. After you ran live shows on Tuesday, on Tuesday, you kind of had to go with the most recent.
You don't have to.
You kind of did.
Kind
of did.
Debatable.
Yeah, you could like trick or yeet. Sure. I don't think that was going to get many people. I also try to keep things either
trick or yeet.
Funny. I like it.
I'm going to go as Jey Uso for Halloween. We got like the glasses around here somewhere. Not the yeet glasses, but like the like Kanye shades. We got those. I got my Avalanche Yeet shirt, so I can pull that off, and I'm gonna go to every door and just be like trick or yeet and see what the people say.
They're just gonna be like, you can get that one person who does a yeet.
Somebody's gonna get it. Somebody like
it's Ohio.
Somebody's gonna go yeet, and
it's Ohio. Yeah. Someone's gonna get it.
I'm gonna get the extra candy because of the trick or yeet.
Like people are saying like Stephanie Vacher shows up in NXT. Sure, she's made an appearance. Like I'm trying to get to the larger, like what are people gonna want to look at? I don't know if the Garcia news is that big, but it's also he's re-signed. Not that that's a huge shock given that he did it on Dynamite. But I was like, nothing happened in the main event on Dynamite in terms of storyline progression. There was
Wheeler Yuta grabbed that Bryan Danielson's foot.
Yes, there were little hints, but nothing major happened. The Mariah May headbutt, that looked badass, but I can't get a still of that because it's emotion. This is the other thing that I don't have to my advantage. When I have to do the thumbnail a day after a show airs or going into a show, I can get the proper digital still. This time I kind of had to do it myself, and that's not always easy.
Claudio hit Wheeler Yuta with the hammer in the gut.
And what was I going to say? Gut punch?
Well, it didn't hit him in the head. Has AEW gone soft? That should have been the thumbnail.
Xeno Hours being like NXT versus AEW, who won? Like,
yeah,
I don't want to play that stupid game because like both shows didn't like overextend. Like
both shows sucked.
Kinda, yeah.
Wow.
Kinda.
Wow.
Like both shows were fine. The NXT show was like, we have Randy Orton in the main event, and we've been telling you this for months. So it wasn't like this was a big last minute surprise. The big last minute surprise for NXT was Jey Uso being like, I'm coming out. I'm gonna be there. Didn't have a match. He just appeared. Cody wasn't on the show. They didn't have any extra people show up, which was, again, I'm kind of okay with that. The Randy Orton match had been set weeks in advance. And then like on Dynamite, I think they kind of knew it's Tuesday. We're starting at 9 p.m., which was something I pointed out. Was like, I get that they told you it was Tuesday, but man, I had no idea till late afternoon Tuesday that the show started at 9 p.m. Eastern. And some people were pushing back, be like, well, I knew. And I'm like, good for you. You listen to everything that they're saying. I had no friggin' clue. I knew it was Tuesday. Talent were clearly told, hey, please tweet out that it's on Tuesday.
Well, Tony even tweeted that. Hey, tell all your friends that it's Tuesday. They still got Big Bang Theory was still the lead in, so they can't say too much. The Sheldon Cooper bump was still there.
Yeah, which is great. And again, so like I watched Dynamite, I watched NXT, and I watched both shows. And yeah, I was just kind of like, shows were fine. They were what they were. I think as a what's really frustrating, like we've been talking about for weeks, is that as a go home show, this didn't do it for me. If this had been a regular Dynamite with like 2-3 weeks ahead of a pay-per-view, I probably would have liked this one even better or had more positive things to say about where it sat in the build to a pay-per-view. But otherwise, like, the show was fine. Just nothing caught me. And I was sitting there waiting for something to catch me. And I was like, I guess the big news coming out of this and like is the Garcia resign, which like, again, we kind of saw it. We expected it, or at least you expected it once you saw him in the parking lots at the beginning of the show, or the first 30 minutes of the show.
I would have flipped the closing segments for Dynamite from last week and this week. I would have done last week's angle this week. I thought last week was more impactful with Moxley saying like, I'm under control of this person, and Yuta, you would have to do it a little bit different. Like you'd have to take parts of this week, because obviously you can't do, is Yuta going to hit Jon Moxley with a hammer 1 week after he got beat with a hammer by Claudio. So you would have had to take in elements of last week and elements of this week. But I essentially would have flipped the brawl last week and Yuta kind of still deciding on what he was going to do. And then this week doing Moxley like really destroying Danielson and them destroying Yuta, and not have Danielson. I know it was Washington, so they wanted like Danielson to go out on top and do the yes chants and everything. But yeah, like the show ended last night and I was like, it was like fine. But last week felt a little bit more impactful.
Yeah, I agree with you. You could have flipped it, and everything you said makes exactly why they did it sense. It's just could have been more. Matthew Hook saying AEW has a luchador story, so that's positive. So Monday, you and I talked about this. I said, well, Don Callis certainly made an allusion to Jake Roberts coming back. And as Chad and I told you, yes, Jake Roberts came back last night.
Allegedly.
He showed up. I thought for a minute that he was wearing shorts because they were just filming him from the knee up. And I was like, are they writing him off? And he just had to put on the jacket just for this. He's not being written off. He's here. Don Callis gets the services of Lance Archer, whatever that means. And
then he benched him.
Then he benched him, as one does. I have bigger plans for you. There's a battle of the belts in a month. And then meanwhile, Jake the Snake, he gets LFI. They had to tie up the Roosh and Don Callis story somehow. So they gave him 2 stories ago. We're going to catch you up with this one. So now Jake Roberts is the manager, spokesperson, whatever, for LFI, which, sure, I guess. I mean, in terms of trying to get talent over with the manager mouthpiece, yeah, Jake Roberts would be a good way to do it. I just hope that Jake is able to produce the way he was able to produce 5 years ago. He's been through a lot health-wise in the last 5 years. So like my hope is that he's okay and he's good to go and he's ready to do it. But also the moment it happened, I was like, what do we do? Why did he get these guys? All right, sure. Poor Beast.
I'm not like, I don't care until they give me a reason to like care. I don't care. Jake Roberts has been off television. The Lance Archer stuff was good when it started. And then for the past like 3 years, it's just Lance is showing up for, as you always joke, Battle of the Belts. And Jake is sometimes there. Now he's with LFI, who they got the most here 1 week, gone the next week, the booking in AEW. So I can't pretend that I'm like, oh, this is really cool. This is going to be exciting. Like on paper, it looks fine. But they got to show me that they can be consistent and establish this stuff for longer than 1 episode. I know we're getting Beast Mortos and Hologram on Saturday. That'll be good. That'd be a lot of fun. And then with Lance Archer, I did think it was very hilarious of like, yeah, we just traded for him. Now we're doing this big in-ring segment and we're not gonna like bring Lance Archer out at all. He's just gonna do nothing. It's like, all right, why'd you get him? Like I said, it's bigger plans for Lance Archer or whatever. I joked, but it wasn't really a joke. Don Callis is Doc Rivers. He's Doc Rivers. All right. And basketball fans will get it. Doc Rivers got one championship. It was the Boston Celtics, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, like top tier Boston Celtics team. He got one title, and he's lived off that title his entire career. That's Don Callis with Kenny Omega. That's it. He had a good run with Kenny Omega. Everything else he's done, not that great. He made a terrible trade. He traded 3 for 1. That's a terrible trade. He immediately benched the guy he traded for.
Hold on. I don't think he really got 3. I think the idea was that Roosh already had the other 2. The idea was that Roosh just happened to have friends.
It was a 3 for 1 deal.
I mean, like in a weird way, I guess. Just the representation was under Callis for 1, not for 3. He gets a
3 for 1 deal.
He gets Roosh, but Roosh has friends.
It was a 3 for 1 deal. Terrible trade. Takeshita, he hasn't done anything. It's like when Doc Rivers got back to the finals maybe with the Celtics, but then they lost. That's Takeshita. He did well with a couple of Kenny Omega wins, but then what happened? Nothing. He started to build up in Japan. Kyle Fletcher, he's a giant loser. Will Ospreay quit like twice. Will Ospreay was like, I'm done. And then last night he's like, hey, I'm done. I'm like, yeah, didn't you hand in?
We're done. We've been done.
Yeah.
I was watching that segment and be like, why are we still, we're done.
He fumbled Will Ospreay because Will Ospreay, he didn't need Don Callis. He had a bunch of success without Don Callis. So Will Ospreay got fumbled. He's Doc Rivers. If you get it, you get it. And if you don't, learn some basketball.
Chi-Town Spurs.
Learn to speak basketball, buddy.
The thing about Roosh is everything is start and stop. Well, there's a reason for that. We'll leave it at that. So maybe Jake's gonna help out in this way, but it was a very strange point. And I at the time I was like, is he getting Takeshita? And that's going to be part of the Takeshita push. And maybe someone has said maybe he's going to get Powerhouse Hobbs because Hobbs has been out and he's cleared to return at any time. Thought maybe Hobbs and Jake would be a pretty good combination. And no, instead he gets the luchadors.
I gotta be honest. I'll give them credit because when they first did this and Jake Roberts is like, do you like surprises? Well, I do too. I'm like, they got no damn idea what they're about to do with this. It's going to be 2 months later. It'll be, oh, Jake Roberts, they'll complete this trade. So I give them credit for actually doing something on the show and taking care of it there. I joked. I was like, he got a 6th-round pick, heavily protected 6th-round pick, turns into a 7th if it's not conveyed in 2 years. But he got his 6th-round pick. It turned out to be a little bit better than a 6th-round pick. He got 3 people out of it. It was fine.
I feel like Mortos is going to turn on these guys again. Hopefully he turns on LFI and goes off on his own because that's what he deserves. Mortos is too good to be the 3rd man in a 3-man group.
Is he the 3rd man though?
Yeah, he really is. Roosh is number 1. Who's with them again? That's the problem. Is Dralisico still there? It just feels like Mortos is the 3rd.
No, he's getting the big match against Hologram.
Yeah, he's gonna get the big L against Hologram. Or
Hologram should beat him 2 falls to none.
If this is that's the problem. Is like with Mortos, he's great. The match with Hologram, they keep pointing out it was 13-0, he's 13-0, but like maybe this is the loss that starts to build LFI. I don't think so, but I also don't know what they're thinking of doing with Hologram because this was his first, exposure on Dynamite.
Push him to the moon is what they should do with him.
How are you going to push someone you only work on the Saturday show except for a Tuesday show when people are not watching as they would on the Wednesday show?
Joel, I don't know if you know this, but they can book him on Wednesday. They have that power.
I'm aware of what they could do. I'm also aware of what they've been doing. That's what I'm getting to.
Put him on Wednesday and have him actually go after some titles and stuff.
Well, he's going to have to get in line behind Danny Garcia, who decided to tell everyone, I'm going after titles. And there are a lot of you with titles. I'm like, no, the thing you don't say is the quiet part loud. Danny Garcia wants titles. He's re-signed with the company, and that's the major news that came out of Dynamite to me. And again, not a huge shock that Daniel Garcia decided to stick around. There was a lot of talk about whether or not he would, or would he go to WWE and work NXT, blah blah blah. No, he's decided that AEW is where he wants to stay, and then he did what a lot of wrestlers tend to do when they get a new deal, and that is cut a fiery promo about being better than everyone and saying, he did everything but say, I'm putting the locker room on notice. He said it, the feeling. Yes, he is the feeling, and the feeling is return. It's not a slight on Garcia. He has the ability. He has the opportunity. I hope that it's not just, I cut a fiery promo and that's good enough. Now I'm going to have, I'm going to win a bunch of middling matches. And I mean, middling as in middle of the card matches, and then lose to the next big guy. Because that seems to be the Daniel Garcia way. He hasn't had those big statement victories. Maybe they put him in the C2 and he gets that. And he did last year with the Brody King story, but then nothing happened. So maybe this is the ascent to actually doing something. I hope it is. But you got to do something with Danny Garcia if you're going to give him that much airtime, exposure, and opportunity on that promo.
Yeah. You gotta build around him and just build him now. Promo is good. They've shown they can get behind Garcia for a little bit and then it goes nowhere. And you've got to actually build him to something. It looks like TNT title because he had the run-in with Shibata afterwards, and Shibata was like, I'll give you the match. After after I win, I don't expect Shibata to win. No offense to him, but I do think it was the precursor to Garcia and Jack Perry, which would be good. And I'd probably just put the title on Garcia at that point, because I thought he should have won the title from Christian at Revolution. I thought that was the play, and they didn't do that. So now I think you can put the title on him coming off of Jack Perry. We got to remember, like, Daniel Garcia technically lost his last match. He lost that match to MJF. He stretchered out MJF and it was a big deal, but then he was off television. I know it was, contract stuff and everything, but he's back. But okay, now you actually got to put some equity behind him. You have him. You're not worried about like, we don't want you to win because you might leave, and you're not worried about that. You got him. He's going to be there for how long? No, probably a multi-year deal. It's every year. Every deal is a multi-year deal at this point. So now actually get behind him and actually push him and actually put some stock into him.
Yeah. Pal Driver Finishers in the chat saying sometimes we just have to accept that someone else is in the major spotlight and some guys will stay in a mid card. I agree with that. You need someone to play every part. Chelsea Green is not going to be holding the women's championship in her current iteration. It can be a character change that maybe brings you up in the mid card. Again, you only need that one moment to move you up. Some people stay in the mid card. LA Knight, the way he's presented now, the way that he's on TV, he's mid card. That feels like the US title's as far as he's going to go. In AEW, there's, again, the issue has been a lot of middling, as Jeremy has mentioned, and we've talked about. You can break some of those people up and out of that middling phase, but you have to build them with their character and with their wins so that the victories mean something when they beat someone bigger, whether it's title or non-title, because like Garcia said, a lot of titles in AEW. Wins an eliminator match against, let's say, Okada, that's a huge moment. That's a big statement win. If he beats him for the Continental Championship, that's an even bigger moment, but it doesn't need to be the first step. So I'm curious, does he go after Okada? Does he go after Jack Perry? I know that it looks like it's going to be Perry because of the way the Shibata stuff rolled out, like you said.
There's nothing to do with Okada.
I know, but let's say the Jack Perry thing doesn't happen. In other words, let's say the match happens, but he doesn't win. First of all, I think that'd be silly. But for the sake of argument, if he goes,
then he's going to go after Okada. That's dumb. That's what they always do. Don't do that. That's
what I'm trying to get to. Does he do the one thing that always happens, or does he actually get the victory on the first attempt at a title? I would like to see it to be the victory on the first attempt at a title.
And put the belt on. Don't do you lost to Jack Perry. Well, anyway, this guy also has a title. Let's go after this title. That's stupid. That's what they always friggin' do. I don't want them to do that. I want them to actually put the title on somebody and then have good title defenses off of that, because Jack Perry as the TNT champion has been pretty cold because he beat Darby Allin and then he just did nothing. He lost to Bryan Danielson, so he didn't get elevated off of that. And now he's just facing randos every single week. It's like, okay, he's completely disconnected from the elite. It gets Private Party they're trying to establish, and I assume they're going to lose to the Young Bucks. I did like that Stokely Hathaway was trying to get in with them. And like, where were you when we were a bunch of dorks losing? Like, now we got two hot weeks, and now you want to come around. Hopefully they continue to get established, and they actually put some equity into these guys instead of, oh, we're going to heat them up for a month and then back to just losing all your big matches.
Going back to Stokely and Private Party, where do you think that's going? Stokely essentially was told, he said, well, I want you. And Private Party said, no, LOL, you suck. Where were you? And then Stokely was like, I think that was a big mistake. And then he walked away. Does this end with Stokely getting Private Party, or is Stokely going to bring back Gates of Agony and they're going to destroy Private Party after Private Party, I don't know, wins the tag titles on Saturday?
I understood Private Party's point of like, no, we don't want you. Like, where were you when we were down and everything? Remember their partnership with Commander? That was fun.
Hey, it led to a great match with the Hologram on Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah. So I understood their point, but in storyline, in kayfabe, on television, Stokely's a good manager. He just led Chris Statlander to some pretty big victories. I know then like Statlander dropped them and was born again Kristen and everything, but like he led Statlander to a pretty big victory over Willow that elevated her allegedly to the TBS title picture. So why wouldn't you want Stokely as your manager?
It's a good question. So we'll see if he can, I don't know, maybe he's going to prove Stokely.
He's under Don Callis.
What's that?
He's a better manager than Don Callis.
That's true, but that's a pretty low bar. Don Callis is not exactly, we've already discussed the Don Callis thing. Private Party, if they win the tag titles, then they have no reason to take on Stokely. Private Party, if they lose the tag title match, do they have a reason to take on Stokely and say, okay, we'll try it your way?
Maybe.
I was going to say that's the question.
Maybe.
What do you think with Wrestle Dream? Is it going to be a tag title change, or do you expect a retention for the Young Bucks, who also for some reason weren't on the show? That felt a little strange to me.
I mean, a little bit, but at the same time, like, I get it. The Young Bucks just kind of come and go as they please. It's is what it is with them.
Yeah, that's fair. Speaking of people who were supposed to be on the show but didn't make it, Dr. Britt Baker was ill, according to Tony Khan, so they made it a 4-way match for the shot at the Women's World Championship. Willow Nightingale defeats Saraya. I'm doing this off the top of my head because I forgot. Saraya, Nyla Rose, and
Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter, thank you. I know they're all former women's champions. This was a match. Penelope Ford came back. Penelope Ford is back on a Tuesday night. Booker T is happy. This happened. Willow got the win. Was Willow always slated to win is my big question, because if she was, okay. So Willow versus Mariah May. The headbutt from Mariah May from the top of the ramp. That was my favorite part of everything. What do you think of the match? What are we looking forward to at Wrestle Dream with these two?
It'll be good. It was good in the Own Heart tournament. They've got good chemistry. It'll be good. It's still Willow losing the match against Statlander and then failing upwards to face Mariah May is a little off-putting, but at least she won this match to earn her title shot and everything. I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more struggle with Willow instead of, all right, I lost this big title match or big blow-off match, and then now I'm getting a world title shot. It's like, all right. But it'll be good. I'm not taking anything away from what the match is going to be. It's going to be very good. It does still feel like we're just biding time with the Mina Shirakawa stuff. That's been now pushed to the background when it felt like they were doing more and more with that. Hopefully that comes to a little bit more fruition at the pay-per-view, because we did have the segment a few weeks ago with Willow and Mina and everything. I hope Mina's at the pay-per-view and they start to build that forward a little bit more. But for right now, like, this Willow feud is a fun little placeholder feud that's going to produce a good match until we do get to Mariah and Mina.
Mariah and Mina has been, I guess at that point you do it either a full gear.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can't really do it. Again, you can't do it at World's End because in the back of my mind and many, Toni Storm and Mariah May is a Grand Slam Australia match happening. And that's in February. That's a while from now. So there's a lot to kind of tell. There's a lot of story that you have to get at before you get to that match if it happens there. And it feels like the way that Toni Storm has been on this international vacation, wrestling for a bunch of different companies outside of AEW, that maybe that will be her landing spot, is at the beginning of the year. She comes back to AEW as a new woman, hopefully with a little bit of a character edge. I don't know. And that'll get us to Grand Slam. Feels that way. But then you got to tell Mariah stories all the way up to it, beyond just Mina Shirakawa. Are there other problem is Mariah going to go after people Tony used to work with? They're going to go after
people are coming after Mariah. She's the champion.
Well, that's true. But I meant, are they going to try and pair Mariah up with people that are attached to Tony or were attached to Tony? So the Outcast is really where I'm stuck at. I know. Yeah. Saraya versus Mariah May match is not something on my bingo card.
No, we don't need this failing up stuff. Saraya keeps losing. She doesn't deserve a title shot.
I agree. So I hope that they start building more women to get in those positions for whether it's a world title shot or a TBS title shot. Again, the stuff with Chris and Mercedes is starting to take shape in a good way. I'm just wondering where the women's world title match, where the women's world title goes after we do the Willow match.
I hope they hold off on Chris and Mercedes. I think we all kind of expect it for Wrestle Dream. They've not announced it yet.
It feels like I'm not going to spoil Rampage, but I will say that they didn't do the match that you and I talked about them doing. Chris has a match on Rampage, but it's not against Camille. So
yeah, it's against nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, not nobody, but like
it's not against anyone involved in the storyline. So it feels like maybe they're going to push Chris to the next show. And also they had Mercedes wrestle this past Tuesday. So maybe we're going to use Mercedes sparingly and she's not going to be on this particular pay-per-view, and instead we'll put her on Full Gear.
I do Chris and Camille at Wrestle Dream.
I wouldn't hate that.
And then I build up the Chris and Mercedes match a little bit more.
Sure. Have it at Full Gear.
Yeah.
Is Chris where's she from? Do you have it off the top of your head?
She's from that area. Like she always wrestled a lot in the Northeast independent scene.
Yeah, I feel like she's a New Jerseyan. Yeah, she's from New York because so her being at Full Gear, and it's going to be in New Jersey. That would be a big moment because she's a babyface now. So maybe, and that's a huge moment for for Chris Statlander, I should say, not Camille, for Chris Statlander to have a huge babyface moment against the heel Mercedes Moné in her home turf. That would be good stuff. So maybe it is going to be a Full Gear match, and you let that story kind of happen in the background. It'll be good. Yeah. I don't know if you crown her. I don't know if she beats Mercedes, but I can certainly see the match having enough heat behind it that people would believe in the opportunity that Chris Statlander could beat Mercedes.
I'd ever win. I'd ever beat Mercedes. It'd be plenty of time before then in November. And
then Mercedes can go on and win the Royal Rumble.
She's still the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. It'll be fine.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Yeah, so that's kind of where that's going. Again, they don't seem to be pushing that it's Stat and Monet at Wrestle Dream, which some people aren't going to like that, but I think for the case of having it in New Jersey on Stat's kind of home-ish turf, that would be fun. I would like to see that. What else is going on Dynamite that we need to touch on? Obviously, there was the tag title, not tag title, the tag team main event, Danielson and Yuta taking on Claudio and Pac. Moxley showed up. He did his thing, get beat down after the match was finished. What about Marina Shafir beating up old Wheeler Yuta? What was that about? She's a badass, this woman. My God.
Yeah, Claudio hit him with the hammer, Yuta, and then I do think it wasn't an accident that Yuta reaching for Danielson and Danielson just doing the yes chant, and then finally he paid attention to what Yuta was doing, crying out for help. I'm starting to buy my Moxley's being controlled by an idea, and Yuta eventually comes around on it. I don't want this like, oh, Yuta was leading it the whole time. I don't think that's great. Just don't. But I do think like the idea of it makes sense. If like Yuta's the mastermind behind all this,
I'm less a fan of that idea now than I've ever been, just because of the way that it played out, where I feel like Yuta will make his decision and that it'll cost Danielson his match. And then he'll have to come out and be like, Danielson, in my time of need, you didn't even try to help me. You know, and that's the thing. A good heel has something to be upset about, but he's also fully understanding of the fact that there are other things at play that stop the thing from happening that they think should happen. In other words, Danielson and Mox were fighting backstage. They had already gone to the backstage. They were fighting on the stage. So Danielson was already indisposed. He couldn't help Yuta in that moment. But then he came back and he cleared the ring. But Yuta doesn't know because Yuta was knocked out, quote unquote, with the hammer shots. He was knocked down. He was in a lot of pain, blah, blah, blah. He didn't see what happened. So Yuta could come out and easily, after screwing Danielson, be like, you never cared for me. You just showed that you never cared for me. You can pick out X, Y, and Z time and, you know, replay it. But I like the idea that Yuta's heel turn could be based on something that's not entirely true, but is a little bit true. And that's the form of a good heel.
Yeah, this is what I said last week of the idea is Yuta bled with Moxley and that Moxley's way was the right way, where Danielson always said he cared, but he mostly lost when he was, you know, with Danielson. And then Danielson went off to do this match and that match, and he just wanted to, you know, force Yuta to run red rocks and all of this stuff. Like, and Yuta's like, no, that's not what Blackpool Combat Club was supposed to be all about. You know, it's supposed to be what Jon Moxley talked about. Again, the idea is what is controlling Moxley, not like it can't be Yuta's the mastermind and I pulled all the strings. Like, why would you want to get hammered in the gut on purpose? That stuff was always dumb to me. I don't think they're going to do that, by the way. I don't think they're going to do it. But you know, I have seen people say that maybe Yuta is the guy who is behind this whole thing. Again, I don't think that should be the play. It should be an idea. And if it does turn out to be a person, fine. But for the story of Yuta, it should not be like him being the person.
Yeah, I don't think that he should be the one who masterminded anything. So we'll see. We'll see where Wrestle Dream ends up. If Yuta becomes the controlling guy, I'm gonna laugh at that point. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. Last two things I want to point out were the Cody Chun, former guest of the show, friend of the show, got beat by Jay White, who had an impassioned promo. He wants to take on Hangman Adam Page. He's the next guy who wants that world title, or at least he wants to be on his ascent to the world title. Again, you go back to guys who are sticking their claims for titles. Jay White's absolutely somebody that you should be building up as a guy going after a world title shot. I like that they're starting here. And we'll start there, and then we'll talk about the beginning of the show with Darby and Brody King, because I thought that was a fantastic promo. But let's talk about Jay White for a sec. This was good.
I don't know what you want me to say. Jay White was good promo. Should be a good match against Hangman Page.
Wonderful. I'm glad we got there.
I think the second person on his list is, I think it's MJF. That's my guess. I think it's MJF is who he was referencing as the second person, because that's the guy he could not beat. And maybe it's Adam Cole, because Adam Cole was the devil, but I think it's MJF.
It's more likely MJF, because the devil stuff didn't really impact. Did impact Jay White because it was a title shot. Wasn't it good? They should really retcon that entire.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna like not even reference it.
Didn't happen. It should be Shane McMahon. He should be upset at Shane McMahon because they didn't sign him. That's what it is.
People
I don't
saying
know.
Christian because Christian
Christian's a
cost
pretty good one.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I just don't know. Like, I don't know if they want to like tell that again. Maybe they do, but I don't know if they do. It would make sense if they do. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with Christian with Killswitch being out right now, and he's just kind of biding his time with this contract. I'm not sure. Like, it looks like he's going to do something with Hook. Maybe he did attack Taz. Maybe it is Christian, but I also think MJF is at play.
If it is Christian, do you? I know you're not going to be a big fan of this, but do you maybe do a match with the title shot on the line?
Oh, the contract thing? No, that's dumb because, like, why would Christian agree to that? Christian's actually like a smart heel for the most part. Like, he wouldn't agree to that dumb shit. Like, he just wouldn't.
Yeah, I can't think of anything in Christian's current character that would kind of put him in the position to do that. Unless it was a Nick Wayne beating. You know, Jay White beats down Nick Wayne so bad that he forces Christian to take the match, but that's more of a heel thing. And Jay White's kind of in the middle. He's fiery babyface promo, but like he still has heel tactics. So it's strange. I don't know what that's going to look like.
I don't know if we're going to get Christian and Jay White. I'm not talking myself into Christian and Jay White. I think MJF's more at play here.
I think MJF will be a better matchup for those two right now, especially when they're both healthy and they're not doing the silly Adam Cole devil in the middle stuff.
Till Adam Cole comes back and he's also involved.
Triple threat for nothing. Actually, I would like that as a triple threat #1 contendership match. I wouldn't hate that. But we'll see. First, we got to get through Hangman Adam Page and see where that lies. Swerve is also coming back. Looking forward to that. I'm starting to think actually that EJ and Duca might be the man joining the MVP stable.
I mean, maybe, but look, Bobby Lashley's coming in. Okay.
Yeah. That's a big dude. I get it.
Maybe EJ maybe he does turn on Swerve, and it's not like they have like really established television history. EJ's just kind of been in the corner for a few segments, and again, he was just on television and just there. But it's not like he's been heavily referenced or like we know this is a high partnership. But maybe EJ does turn. He does join MVP's group, but we're getting Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't. It's not.
I'm reporting it. I'm not saying it's official or anything. I'm reading the tea leaves.
Yeah, the feeling is that.
Yeah, the vibes. I'm reporting on vibes. Sean is like, we can't report vibes. Well, maybe he can't, but I can report on vibes. All right. The vibe is that Bobby Lashley is coming in.
That's right. And then finally from Dynamite, I do want to talk about the Brody King and Darby Allin segment. The Rock. Not that Rock, the Rock that Darby held in his hand to knock out Brody.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
God damn. Anyway, that Rock was not on the show on Tuesday. He might be on the show on Friday. Probably not. Who am I kidding? Anyway, Darby Allin and Brody King had a good one to open up the show. I thought this was good. I think that Darby Allin continues to be a much better promo than when he was even 3 years ago. This is good stuff. It actually made me look forward to the match beyond just two dudes fighting. I like that they built in a story in the last 2 weeks. This was good stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good match. Darby's a guy that they should always be behind, and sometimes they get behind him very strong, and other times it's not that they're not behind him. It's like, man, you should probably be doing more with this guy. And some of it's been like injury or who went to climb Mount Everest and all this stuff. But like he's a pillar, right? And he's a unique pillar. And Brody King's a guy that they can do a lot more with. I hope, again, this is not like, we're in Washington. Let's do Brody and Darby to pop the crowd. And then we won't see Brody King for another 2 months unless he's with House of Black doing whatever the hell House of Black is doing. Like, I hope we get more out of Brody King coming out of this, because I don't think he's going to win. But Brody King's, every time he's given the opportunity, he smashes it.
Yeah, Brody's that weird. You want more from him, but what is there for him? You know what I mean? It's like there hasn't been a build to something meaningful for Brody King, and doing Darby is.
He should have faced Eddie Kingston for the Continental title. I still cannot believe that they didn't do a short Brody King Eddie Kingston program after Eddie won the tournament, since Brody beat him in the tournament. Like, you can do stuff with Brody King beyond let's talk in riddles with House of Black.
Pile Driver Finisher saying, why a promo? The not hating just thought. I mean, the build was based on Darby saying, hey, open challenge, and then Brody came out and answered it on Collision. I understand, like, why was this a promo and not something else? I'm happier having this have a little bit more backstory to build the importance of the match than them fighting or scrapping or Brody having a match and doing a squash. Like, we know what Brody King is capable of. We know in terms of like wins and losses, we know what Darby Allin's capable of. We know how these guys fight. We needed to see how these two mesh up in a talking way, like in a story way, because you tell the story in the ring, but you also have to have something to appeal to the fans to want to see them fight. And that's what this is, because it all started with Darby just saying, hey, open challenge. And Brody's had Darby's number multiple times. So let him tell us that. Let us remind you that this happened. It's good. I liked it.
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be fun. Let's get a super chat from Chi-Town Spurs saying, you guys think that they added Daniel Garcia to the NXT group chat where he saw what they were talking about, Jews controlling the weather, and he immediately signed the AEW contract. Let's talk about NXT, shall we?
Wrestlers, just all of them, all of us, everybody.
I guess that means you need to shut the fuck up. That's what I do if I don't have no army. I would fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
You have no pushback from me on that one. You know what I will say? This is the only thing I'm going to say. I know I bring up Wade Keller a bunch. Listen to his, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Listen to his Raw post show from Monday night. Okay. If you want a good lesson in politics, listen to his Raw post show. An hour. They took a 2-hour show and they turned it into a 3-hour post show. That's all I'm going to say. Please go watch that. It was fantastic. It was amazing. NXT, Trick Williams, he's the new champion. Won it in Chicago last week. Comes out, has a bit of a promo. Wesley comes out, says, I want next. And then later on in the night, really what we're getting to is the end of the night when Javon Evans has a match with Randy Orton. He does not win. We'll talk about that match in a minute, but it's going to be Ethan Page and Wesley and now Javon Evans as well in a triple threat for the NXT Championship #1 contendership. I assume that's going to be the #1 contender goes on to Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, Ava said that.
She did say that. Good. I wasn't out of my mind. So I do like that Wesley is getting the opportunity, considering he's the only one who isn't coming off of a loss going into this match. I would like for this to be Wesley's victory. I would like for him to win this and go on against Trick, because they kind of told you without telling you that it was going to happen this way. But what do you think of that kind of getting sorted out, or kind of bookending the show? And we'll talk about the Randy Orton and Javon Evans match as well.
I thought it made a lot of sense, and Wesley seems like the guy who's going to be the next challenger. I don't know if he's going to win, because at least he is coming off of a victory. Now, before that, he had a bunch of losses, but at least he's coming off a victory in the street fight. Ethan Page, he gets his rematch clause, I guess, but he lost pretty clean to Trick last week, and then Javon just lost to Randy. It was a good showing, but still a loss. Now they're going to do this triple threat, and I assume it's going to be Wesley, because they kind of set that up earlier in the night. I'm not ruling out the possibility of them, because it's NXT and they love to just do some wacky dumb shit, like a double pin on Javon Evans, and it's Ethan Page and Wesley, and we get that. Yeah, I also, you've pointed this out, and they've continued to run with this on television. CM Punk and Ethan Page could be a real thing that happens at Halloween Havoc. So I could 100% see CM Punk interferes in this match. Wes Lee is the one who gets to take advantage of that, not Javon Evans. And that sets up Page and Punk for Halloween Havoc.
Does Page beat, or sorry, does Ethan Page beat Punk?
No.
This is the one thing I'm thinking about. How many losses can you have someone take? Because Javon Evans just lost to Randy Orton. Does he get pinned on next Tuesday or next Tuesday? Would he get pinned?
No, Ethan Page
This
does.
is another one. Ethan Page gets pinned. So then you're paging, then you're pinning Page 3 times in a row, but he is the heel and he's that asshole.
Well,
So
maybe Punk comes out. Maybe Punk comes out and he doesn't. He and Ethan Page just brawl, and yeah, maybe Javon Evans does get pinned. And all right, then he loses, and who knows what's next for him after that. That protects Page from taking a loss because he's probably going to lose to Punk.
They've proven time and again that Javon Evans can eat a pin and still be very popular and still be very much, considered big time in NXT. Like, he's still on the ascent despite losing. He loses to Randy Orton in the main event last night. Match was fine. They tried to do the spot that I told y'all they were going to try. Unfortunately, it didn't work out well, but at least they had the wherewithal to get up and then just hit an RKO and get the 3 count. Javon Evans was very apologetic to Randy Orton after the match. I felt so bad for those guys, but
yeah,
Randy didn't care. Javon was clearly like, I messed up, but he didn't. It's a hard spot to pull off. But Randy
it looked like Javon over-rotated on it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the story will eventually come out, when someone asks what happened with that, and Randy's going to be like, well, we couldn't get it all day, so we said maybe we'll get it live, and we didn't get it live, so I guess here we are. And it'll be something as simple as that. Or it'll be the other way around. We did it in practice, and it worked perfectly well, and then it didn't go well live, and that's just the way it goes.
I don't even think Randy's going to, give that much to it. He's probably just going to be like, shit happens. Sucks.
There. Someone should just DM him right now on Twitter. Randy's not above giving you the sauce nowadays. He's fine.
I mean, I just think it's just going to be I do think it will even say I felt bad for Javon. It's something that we talked about. We wanted to do. We thought we'd do it. Shit happens, it's not an indictment on him. It'll get better.
And of course, the biggest news coming out of the nights, sexy. No, I'm just kidding. No. New Ethan Page, not allowed to pop ass.
That she was popping ass.
Yeah, quote tweeted the Fightful article. I get it. That's fine. Yeah, there you go. Ryan's gonna DM.
I know what I was doing with that headline. I know Ethan Page reads this stuff.
Yeah, of course. Everyone's best friend, Ethan Page. The North American Championship is now in the camp of the family. Tony D'Angelo captures it after Oba Femi did become the longest reigning NXT North American champion in history so far. This match was pretty good. I kind of wish that Oba Femi had retained and that Javon Evans was going to be the man to dethrone him, but here we are. We've got the family with the title. The match was fine. Not only was Tony D'Angelo so excited, he was no longer scared.
It feels like they are basically just going to do the Gunther thing with Oba Femi. Long title reign. He loses it. Now he'll reestablish himself. Gunther won King of the Ring to earn the title shot. So it's not like it was like, oh, I lost the Intercontinental title. Let me go after the world title. He won a prestigious tournament to get the title shot. I think Oba Femi is going to be kind of in the same boat of he's going to win some type of tournament or big time contenders match after picking up a couple of victories. He'll get back on track, get some wins, and then he'll be in some type of contenders match for the title. And we're going to get Oba. Yeah, Oba and Trick at Stand and Deliver. It could be, that'd be big time right there. The WrestleMania weekend for those two, that'd be pretty big.
Oh, Femi will win Iron Survivor.
There you go. Yeah.
Whenever they do it, he'll win Iron Survivor, and then whatever show he gets that based off of, then that's the move for sure. Oba and Trick is a match that people have been kind of secretly waiting for, but not knowing when it was going to happen. So that's definitely it. And again, Wesley, if he gets the title shot at Halloween Havoc, that's a good match. And again, give Trick a good line of opponents until you get to a guy like Oba Femi, where Femi has, I should say Trick has a good showing, but Femi just beats the shit out of whoever. That'd be good.
And they're not short on contenders.
No, they're not. That's the NXT way. Eventually,
they're not short. Like they're not short on talent down there. And if they feel like they're short, well, send someone down there and it'll be all right.
What's CM Punk up to this month?
Especially now the Raw's 2 hours. It's like, well, shit. We got time that we couldn't use on Raw. We got to send these people to NXT to make sure they get some television time.
Well, we got a little bit of time to talk about Raw before our friend Delmi Exo from MLW joins us at 11:30, so in about a half an hour. Well, before we wrap up this NXT talk, PW Insider was reporting there was a fan incident at the NXT hotel last night. Did you read this?
Why are we giving this any type of...
Because it's there. Because it's just ridiculous shit. I'll let people find it on their own because you don't want to talk about it.
There's nothing to talk about. Don't be fucking creepy.
Weird. That's all it is. People are weird, man. People are weird. And it's not just in wrestling. So, Monday Night Raw. Gunther, you mentioned him earlier, does retain the world title against Sami Zayn. A good main event match. 2-hour Raw. What was your overall thought? Because a lot of people had a lot of things to say about 2 versus 3-hour Raw for the first run.
It felt like they were just trying to pack a lot of stuff in there. It felt like they didn't quite know how to book a 2-hour Raw. And this is what I said before of like, they actually kind of got a formula down for a 3-hour Raw to where it didn't feel like it dragged. It felt like it was paced well. And it was, for the most part, most weeks, a good to even great show. And this, I mean, look, when they did that 10-woman tag, it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to throw all these women here in this match. And here you go. Like that, it just felt like a very crammed show. The Judgment Day stuff, usually Judgment Day gets the time. They get out there to, they get the big long promos in the ring. They get to tell their stories and stuff. And nope, didn't get that. Just a little backstage thing. That was that. Damian Priest wasn't on the show. Like it very much felt like a 2-hour Raw. That was just it felt like they had 3-hour ideas, but they couldn't do it because they lost an hour. I didn't mind the 3-hour Raw. I was one of the people who was like, no, 3-hour Raw has been good. Like I think this is a good thing that it's 3 hours because they're putting a lot of good stuff in there and they're giving people time. Like that Jey Uso and Xavier Woods match it was so short. I was like, man, if they had 3 hours and you could have tacked on another like 8 minutes to that match, it would have been a lot better. But yeah, it was a 2-hour Raw. I like that it ended at 10. That's nice. I always like when shows end earlier. I never mind the length of the shows. That's the thing. Is people get confused of like, oh, you don't like these long wrestling shows. Like it's not so much that I don't like the long wrestling shows. Like some of them don't need to be as long as they are. But it's rarely the length. It's more about when they end. You can give me a 4-hour show. If you run from 6 to 10, cool. Run your 4-hour show. You want to run a 4-hour show from 8 to 12? Then I'm like, I don't need 4 hours.
You hear that? Jeremy Lambert says it's not about the length of the show. It's about the girth of your program.
Did I say that?
I mean, in a roundabout way, you kind of said it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. People are saying, Raw was built for 3 hours. And at this point, like they have SmackDown, they have Raw, but yeah, it's tough to put a show like this together when you've gotten so used to telling all of these stories using all of this talent on Raw. And this is what you do on the first run. I don't know how much of the Hurricane stuff kind of got in the way of whatever they were planning for Monday night, especially because they're about to go to the UK and there's a bunch of stuff because they tape 2 episodes, right? They tape this week live and then next week is a tape show. And then they do it all over again in a couple of weeks when they get ready for Saudi. So in some ways it's advantageous for WWE, but regardless, don't know who was available, who was around and what they were going to do with these people. On the other hand, this was something that, for a little while AEW was actually pretty good at. And that was the idea of some stories on the back burner on A week and then B week, it was this story. And then they would kind of go back and forth and kind of hoping that WWE, they do this with Raw for a little bit as they kind of get ready for Netflix, because they're only going to be 2 hours for the next 3 months. They still have to figure out what that's going to look like. And maybe it is cycling A stories, A1 and A2 on separate weeks. Don't know how well that's going to work if you're doing, 2 weeks worth of tapings in one night, but it's something I'd personally like to see. Like you said, Judgment Day weren't there. There was very little from Judgment Day. It's also the Crown Jewel stuff is in the way, right? You can't really do much when your top 4 title holders are in a match. They're in 2 different matches at Crown Jewel. I like what they're going to do with the women's, the women's side of things. We won't get into spoiler territory, but like we talked about it on Monday. Tiffany Stratton is going to be heavily involved in all forms of this storyline, which is a great opportunity for her. But it's still taking up what's going on Raw and SmackDown. Same thing with Cody. He's going to be on Raw more. Gunther retains the title. I love the Photoshop job that they do trying to get, it could be Sami Zayn, and they put him up with the Photoshop with the title. That was funny with the poster. But yeah, we're just kind of stuck for Crown Jewel for the build. Other matches that'll be on the card. I mean, I assume Jey Uso will have a title defense, maybe against Braun Breaker. Breaker came out and he speared Jey Uso after that short Intercontinental Championship match against Xavier Woods. Is it a multi-person match? Is it a 4-way? Maybe they do Woods, Kofi, Braun, and Jey. And that's a way for Jey to maybe eke out a win and retain the title without pinning Braun Breaker again. Does Woods suffer another loss? Does Kofi eat the L? I wouldn't mind actually they just do a 4-way so that they can kind of keep the story strong without making Breaker suffer another L. Or
Jey beat Woods like clean. Like I don't need Xavier Woods getting back into this title picture.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, and again, it'll play off further on Monday with the match that they're going that they put together between the people who were involved in that segment. Again, I'm not going to spoil. You can read the spoilers if you want.
Actually, I haven't read the spoilers, so I have no idea.
Oh, you haven't? Well, I'll put it like this: like of the 4 men who were involved in that segment, 2 of them are going to have a match, and it's it's putting those 4 men.
They announced Braun and Kofi, didn't they?
Did they? Oh, if they did, then that's great. I just don't remember what's been announced. My point was
they announced that. I feel like I've seen a graphic for that.
It's entirely possible. I didn't keep track of that. My point really being that those 4 men are in each other's orbit, and one of those men happened to carry the Intercontinental Championship. So of those 4 men, 2 of them are going to be, at least 2 of them will be involved in a Crown Jewel match, and we'll see where that goes. But yeah, it was a little awkward to do that match in 6 minutes, and you get a commercial break in between, and then all of a sudden it's over. Again, it's a pacing thing. It's just trying to figure out what the shows look like when you're doing something like this. Meanwhile, you get a match like Sheamus and Pete Dunne, and this was a really good match that had, I don't know if it really had stakes. Sheamus gets the win, with his hands tied behind his back, as one does. And at least on the socials, he put out, he put over Pete Dunne, said Butch is dead. He kind of, put over Pete Dunne in the loss. Didn't hate that. Thought for a second maybe Pete Dunne would go after Trick again, but luckily not the case. Yeah, what do you think? Sheamus gets the win, and I assume they're done for now with Pete Dunne and Sheamus.
That was a really fun match. I was surprised that Sheamus kind of won. Not that like Sheamus is bad or anything. I love Sheamus. I was surprised that, especially he's got both hands tied behind his back. It's like, oh, he still won the match. And Pete Dunne looked, Pete Dunne couldn't have beat this dude who had no hands. Oh, I'm very curious of where Pete Dunne goes. Maybe he just goes back to NXT. It'll be fine. But Sheamus, I'm cool with that. And I assume he'll get elevated somewhere out of this. The Intercontinental title has always been the thing for Sheamus. Maybe after we get past Crown Jewel, Sheamus and Gunther is a potential program. Everyone loves Sheamus and Gunther. They always have great matches. Sheamus and Braun Breaker would be good. There's no shortage of options for Sheamus. It's, again, he won a big match, a big blow off, so he's got to elevate into something even bigger than that. And there's certainly routes for him to go off of this. One thing about Raw 2 hours that I'm a little curious about over the next couple of months is how much are they going to commit to like figuring out the 2 hour format if they know that they're just going back to 3 hours at Netflix? is I do like if they know like, oh, Netflix is only going to give us 2 hours. All right, maybe obviously like we got to figure out how we're going to book a 2-hour Raw. But if Netflix is like, yeah, we're gonna do 3 hours, like you guys can just have 3 hours again, or 2.5, 2:45, and then no commercial breaks or whatever it might be, is that's essentially what a 3-hour Raw would be. Then I do wonder if they don't actually do a full commit of, yeah, let's really nail down this 2-hour format, and instead just kind of keep going the way they're going of let's do as much as we can in the 2 hours, and then once we get to Netflix and we have 2.5 to 3 hours, then we'll just be back on track how we were instead of retraining everything we've done for fucking 2 decades at this point.
Yeah, it's a good point to bring up. I feel like there's one thing that I'm actually interested in seeing is if they do a commercial-free first hour Raw at one point.
I don't know.
To do it. I don't know if USA wants to, or if they're.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger thing is like, I don't know if USA really cares at this point, because if they were like cool with all this, they would have just, hey, yeah, keep doing your 3-hour show. Like, it's fine. Like, I know they still have SmackDown, and clearly the relationship is good enough to where, yeah, we'll let Raw continue through the end of the year, but it's also not good enough to where we'll let Raw continue through the end of the year, but we're taking off this 3rd hour and we're just going to run our own. We're going to run the stupid game show that they run. It's the reality show.
Christina's Best.
No.
Oh, I don't know what the game show is.
I'm pretty sure it's called like Anonymous. So like clearly it's not good enough to where they let them keep the 3rd hour. So I don't know if they'd be fine with commercial. Maybe they would, because that the first hour does well and commercial free. Okay. But I don't know if they actually want to do that.
From Fightful Select, Javon Evans and Randy Orton rehearsed their spot extensively prior to the show, and there's no heat on anyone for the missed RKO. So just going back to that point. Yeah. If it's out there, it's out there. Good. Yeah, the stuff with Raw.
Tony Khan's media calls today.
Now we'll have something to talk about on Friday. Listen, at this point, our Friday show was going to be a 2-hour TNA post show. So, like, what did you really want here? We're going to see how Raw 2-hour kind of pulls out, how they're going to do it, and what's going to be made to feel important. And maybe I'd like more if they just made this a more wrestling based show, like more wrestling matches on a 2-hour show. Is that the way to go? Because I mean, the first 30 minutes of Raw this past week was promo heavy. Maybe you take that away. Maybe you just give more time for matches. But I guess that kind of feels like Dynamite in some ways. That's the way Dynamite was at the beginning. So I'm curious as to how it will play out. Eventually, you're going to start bringing back people like Bronson Reed. That's another guy that wasn't on this week. Selling from last week, obviously, from the big monster match. But Seth Rollins calling out Big Bronson Reed. That's going to lead to something. Maybe that's a crown jewel match. And again, a lot of people were pretty annoyed with how the women were treated. This is twofold, and they should be, and I agree with them, by the way. I do. And it's twofold. One is, yes, you should have more time to spotlight the women on your show. At the same time, they haven't done much to give you any importance behind any of the women in that 10-woman tag. No one's been made to feel more important as a title contender, as someone that you should be paying attention to. It's just been these women have all been middled, and as a result, we put them in a 10-woman tag, and everyone gets their shit in, and nothing really comes out of it other than Lyra Valkyria gets the pinfall, and the baby faces stand tall. Could have been better, and it should be better. And I'm hoping that after Crown Jewel, again, Liv Morgan saying we're done with Rhea Ripley. I hope that they kind of stick to that at least for a month or 2 months or until the Rumble, so that you can have some matches on Raw with the women going after Liv, and let Liv, I don't care if she pins them, but at least have some sort of build to make some of these women feel more important, because they really haven't done that. And that's when you get stuck with a 10-woman tag that has absolutely no bearing on anything. You just got to build it better. But it's okay, because Triple H sees talent.
so mad this media calls today ruined my day.
When is it? 2:00?
I don't know. I just asked. I assume 2:00. It's usually 2:00. It might be 3. Sometimes they're at 3. It's just I was like, oh, cool. Maybe a little break. No wrestling tonight, allegedly.
Let's find out if there's wrestling tonight. Let's check the old Triller schedule. House of Glory is showing the Believe in Glory show.
Everybody listen to the Tony Khan media call.
No, thank you. Is that live? No, that has to have been taped.
House of Glory, it's a taped show.
It's a tape show. Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy. That's the only thing that's really on tonight in the wrestling world. So there you go. When does NWA air? I'm just kidding.
Tony Khan media call is at 4.
Whoa.
I'm not taking a nap. I'm going to take a nap
awesome.
at 4.
Well, don't take a nap now. In 10 minutes, we're going to have Delmi Exo joining us from MLW to talk about her re-signing and, of course, the Lucha Apocalypto show that's coming up in November in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, you should go check out that show, but we'll talk with Delmi shortly. Looking forward to that. Is there anything else from Raw that we should touch on? Because the show was just kind of a show.
4 p.m. Eastern. What do we do? Why?
Well, they are on the West Coast.
Cry on air.
That's why it's so late, because they're on the West Coast right now. So I was right. Man. It is 1 p.m. It is 1 p.m. It's just 1 p.m. Pacific.
Man, he's gonna the media call, the press conference on Saturday is gonna go like 5 hours. There's no football game he's got to get to on Sunday.
Yeah, the football game's on Saturday in London.
I'm pretty sure the game's on Sunday still.
Are you sure? Well, it's the weekend. I don't know when it is.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to play a Saturday. I mean, I know it's in London, but I'm pretty sure it's still on Sunday. He's just not going to make it.
Sunday. Yeah, you're right. It's Sunday. Sunday, 9:30 against the Bears.
Yeah, but yeah, it's
Seth
in.
Rollins be there?
What? It's in Taunton. It's in London. So.
You think Seth Rollins going to be there?
No, I don't think Seth Rollins. Oh, maybe they're doing a UK tour.
Yeah, they're on the UK tour. That's kind of
maybe actually. You know what? Maybe.
That would be a fun meeting. Seth Rollins and Tony Khan. Oh no, Tony won't be there. Damn it.
Yeah, I didn't think Tony was going to be there. I mean, it'd be great if he was like, "What's the flight from Seattle to London?"
It already says he's not expected to be there.
Well, don't you doubt Tony Khan.
It's true. Tony reads this report and says, "The hell with that." Prove those dirt sheets wrong.
It's like maybe a 9-hour flight nonstop. This is not accounting for private jet here. So,
time change.
Yeah, 9-hour flight. He could I guess with the time change. Well, if they leave, the show would end at 9:00 Pacific. Don't do the press conference. Just don't do it. So he could leave, let's say 9:30. And then that gives them 12 hours from, well, no, a little less because the game starts at 6:30 Western time, like Pacific time. I don't know how the time difference works.
Basically, on the media call. Just ask on the media. That should be Jeremy Lambert, Fightful.com. TK, do you have plans to be in the UK this weekend for your Jacksonville Jaguars game? And he'll be like, that's a good question. We got a great show at Wrestle Dream here this weekend at Tacoma Dome in Washington. We got a lot of tickets sold, and we're expecting a lot more. As someone who's a big fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars is Mason and Mansoor.
I'm not gonna. If I ask that question, it would not be framed like that. It would be framed as, Tony, can you not do this post-show press conference so you can make the game? And then I'll put the heat on him for being like, well, I'm not going to be able to make the game. We're going to do the press conference. Like, well, see, Tony, commit to the game, not the press conference.
Where do your allegiance lie? Or are you just a beatnik?
By the way, after this show now.
Oh, my goodness. By the way, from NXT, we didn't touch on the debut officially of Stephanie Vaquer. We kind of made reference to it at the opening, but Steph Vaquer has made her official NXT debut she's aligned with Julia for now, and Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez are also a thing. So it feels like eventually that'll turn into either the 4-way we were all expecting, or they'll do multiple matches one-on-one with Roxanne to get to that point. I'm excited. What do you think of the Stephanie Vaquer debut? Because certainly surprised some people.
I mean, once Julia was like, "Oh, nice to see you, old friend," I was like, oh, "Okay, it's Stephanie Vaquer." I mean, it wasn't that surprising. We knew she was gonna be at NXT. She showed up at that contract signing via video screen 2 weeks ago, and then now she's here. It was good. And then they both grabbed the title, and I assume we will get the 4-way match probably at Halloween Havoc.
And then Delta will come in and beat them all up afterwards. Hey man, absence makes the heart go fonder. You hit someone in the head with a title belt, they become best friends.
I mean, are we talking about Cora and Roxanne or Julia and Vaquer? Like, I don't know. Are they friends?
No. Well, again, that's the thing about wrestling. All women hate each other.
Everybody's just friendly, you know?
Yeah.
Ren Sinclair against Vaquer will be fun.
So excited. Ren Sinclair is going to beat Stephanie Vaquer, and then Ren Sinclair is going to have a reason to go after the NXT Women's Championship. I'm all in on Stephanie Vaquer eating a big ol' L on her first night in, just like, well, not Julia, because that was Julia's second match, but just go along with it. Steph Vaquer, big old loser. Let's go with that.
Thea Hale should just come out and beat everybody.
Yeah, you'll have absolutely no pushback from me on that one.
She's gonna whoop Ridge Holland's ass, and I can't wait.
I wonder if our guest can whoop Ridge Holland's ass. I would like to see that. If she's ready, she's early, she can give us a thumbs up and we can get right into it. There we go. We're really, really happy and excited to welcome back to the show once again from MLW, newly re-signed super duper star, at least in my eyes. The one and only Delmi Exo joins us now. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Wow. It feels like it was like last weekend that we were talking.
I know. How are you feeling? First of all, congratulations. This is a re-signing, a new deal with MLW. Yeah, how are you feeling?
It's been a couple of weeks since I've known, but I think now that like the internet knows and kind of like the fan base knows that I'm a little bit here to stay now, it feels more official than when I first got signed. When you first get brought into the team, you gotta like prove your way in still, even though you do have that contract. But now signing an extension, it feels like I'm more at home with the company.
Oh, first off, congratulations. What went into the decision, and how have things been with MLW thus far?
Things with MLW has been great from a creative standpoint. I feel super like free to give input on matches, on like different things between like your entrance, between like your persona, between your promos. So it's really fun to have that room to play and grow in. And for me at least, re-signing was like a no-brainer because I have been giving such a great amount of support in that aspect of like, how can we grow Delmi, how can we grow the God Queen more and more. It honestly just seemed like the right idea of like, no, let's continue this. Like we have our momentum going right now. And 2 years went by so fast, honestly. I thought it was going to be like, like you were going to do work, but like it was going to go by and then you were going to like be on the next chapter in your life. But honestly, 2 years went by so fast. It could be because I'm still in my 20s. Everyone's different, but for me, like, I'm like 2 more years, let's do it.
I like the part where she subtly called us old.
Well, I mean, look, I played soccer with my kids the other day, and I'm so sore after this. I can't imagine you guys are taking bumps in wrestling rings. So yeah, I'm very old just playing soccer. So I agree, I am old.
Oh, it's kind of up to a lot of my friends now, but I still got youth on the side.
That's fine by me. Was there a moment where you were kind of like, this is the place I want to be? Like MLW is a home for me. I asked the same question to Matthew Justice, and I'm always curious about like what makes talent want to stick around. What's that moment?
I think what helped me a lot was working with Jesus. You guys might know him as Ricardo Rodriguez. he has taken a huge hand in working with the women and like helping us to produce our matches, and getting to like pick his brain on different things, and like getting to like see different ways that he sees wrestling has definitely like opened up a whole new like world for me, Janai, and like a lot of other women who have been able to work with him and like, you know, get that creative aspect of him. He's definitely like someone who I'm really happy that we have on board with us.
We have somebody pointing out in the chat, so I want to point this out as well. This sword behind you. What's the story with this sword?
This sword is Conan the Barbarian. That's his sword. It says, "Suffer no guilt, ye who wields this in the name of Crom." And it's my husband's sword. So if you ever break into our house, you're gonna get attacked by the Crom. Don't do that.
Word of warning to everybody.
Yes.
Would it have been more or less helpful in a Taekwondo rules match?
Oh, I should have brought 100% next time. Coming with me.
For those who may have missed it, unfortunately, Delmi did not beat Janai Kai for the women's world featherweight title at Pit Fighters a couple of weeks ago. It aired, I believe, last week. But yeah, unfortunately, you didn't win the match. But maybe the sword is the trick to regaining that featherweight that featherweight title as it is.
I just gotta wield the sword against Janai. Some work against those kicks.
When you see all the stuff that they're doing in MLW, like a Taekwondo match, like the Paul Hauser is there. They're fighting in an MMA gym. They do the weapons of mass destruction match. They have another one coming up with Cruel and Akira here shortly. They're throwing fireballs out there. Like, is there anything that like sparks you creatively? Like, ooh, I want to get in there and I want to try. I want to do a little bit of that.
I know it's probably like a long shot, but I would love to be in a war chamber. I would love to get. But I think that's like every kid growing up is like, I want to be in a cage. I've only been in one cage match my whole career, and it was up in Maine. It was actually like the first ever women's cage match in Maine, but it was in a crowd that was like probably 20 people, and every match on that show was in a cage, so it wasn't that special for the night. So I would love to redo that. Love another opportunity of being locked up in there.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about it. Who's on Team God Queen?
Team God Queen. Ooh, okay. So I'd definitely bring in Manders. Definitely bringing in Manders. I would have to say Gigi Ray, because she would probably do something crazy off the top of that cage, and I kind of want to see that. And then, just for the fun aspect of like being the wild dog, Akira, because he would know no bounds. And sorry to our, but you're getting cut up. Mess with us.
As a Canadian, mentioning Gigi Ray is a big win in my book, so I'll take that one too.
Yeah, Akira, we've had him on the show, and there's nothing that he won't do. So that's someone who anything you ask of him to do in something like that, you'll be good to go with him.
Yeah. Akira is one of those people who I don't ever want to be across from, but team with.
I want to ask about Ashley Vox's return. You know, you see Star's partner, your sister. What was that like? Seeing her come back after being away for 2 years?
I know it was really hard for her being away. There was a lot of time where we weren't actually sure if she was going to come back into the ring, and so there was like, I think probably like after year 1 of her being out, and just like this realization, like, oh man, like that was our last tag match together. Well, you know, like that, like sudden dread of like, like, did we go out the way we wanted to? I feel like now, like having been 2 years apart from Sea Stars, we're a lot more at ease with what we did in terms of being a, you know, female tag team in the scope of the wrestling landscape that is so unfriendly to female tag teams. Even now, it's really hard for like momentum to get built up with teams, whether it's like on TV, whether it's on the indies. You know, there's a lot more teams that are coming up that I'm really like proud of and I'm really rooting for, because I'm like, oh, keep going. like keep going because it's hard. It's hard trying to like get that over and get it used everywhere worldwide and even in the US. So now we're at peace and we're kind of just doing our own thing. She's back in, she's getting her groove in. Be on the lookout for what she's up to.
I was just thinking about her too because we asked you about Ashley last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
And that was actually a quote that picked up a lot of steam. And then when I saw that she came back, I had a big smile on my face. I was thinking, okay, we're back to it. So it's good news. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, I think last time, like I said, we were in that middle of like, yeah, she might be done. Because it's a shoulder injury and it was a shoulder injury. And those are like the hardest ones to overcome.
So going back to your deal coming together, and someone who's been involved in the women's division in MLW is Selena De La Renta. How involved is she with you? I know you're shaking your fist, but how involved was she with getting this deal put together and being a part of the MLW women's division as the director there?
Selena as a director is actually super professional in terms of being in charge of women and now knowing what we all know about like how things have been behind the doors for women's wrestling, it's nice to have someone who's directly on your side in negotiating things, in kind of putting you in positions of like, hey, all right, like you're going to be working with this person. There's a little more of a comfortability with someone you can go to directly and talk to if there was ever an issue. Thankfully, I haven't had any issues with MLW in terms of like anything uncomfortable in a situation that was like, passing boundaries. But if there ever was, I feel like having someone like Selena, someone who is, a female being right there to be able to talk to is just so perfect for us who, me and Janai who are there all the time, but also any of the girls who come in.
All right, I'm going to pull up some pictures here. And I think this is a talent. Yeah, I think this is a talent that you have. Coloring in the car. I feel that's a talent because potholes, speed bumps, slam on brakes, whatever it might be. But like this is really good. You're inside the lines. That's more than I can do. But like coloring in the car takes a real talent. So just tell me about this being, I guess, your car pastime that you've kind of come to do.
Well, me and my friends were kind of joking around. We had a sleep in the night before because we were going to drive up to Maine. So everyone kind of stayed at the house. And then in the morning we took off. And we were joking around that we could have a wrestling color and activity book between our friends and all. And it would be like, connect the honey badger through the maze. And, you would have to do that. And we're like, oh, that'd be so good. We'd make a lot of money. And then it really made me want a coloring book. And I have colored pencils. So those aren't crayons. One, use colored pencils. That's cool. When I was younger, I always had to color the way you're supposed to color the girls. But this time I kind of wanted to color them the way that I would dress. So that's why it's very, very emo urban.
So you're doing different colors with the hair and everything. Like, and this is good stuff. And I'm mostly impressed that being in the car doing this. I feel like there would be a lot of different things that you could hit and it'd screw you up, and then all of a sudden now you're all over the place on it. So I feel like it takes a lot of concentration to actually do this on a long car ride. Thank
you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna tell all my friends who in the car ride.
Cares about the wrestling ability, coloring in the car, everybody.
This is something that like Jeremy and I we don't share our notes or our questions, and like I was going to ask about the coloring, but I was going to ask about like how you pass time on a long show day or on the way. Like, what do you do? Obviously, that's one of the things. Like, is there anything else that keeps you busy? Some people game, some people tell stories. Like, what's your go-to outside of coloring?
Yeah, if I'm alone traveling to MLW because I'm usually alone, then I will read. I usually bring a book with me, or I will like listen to music or a podcast. Right now, I listened back on all of Impulsive, like all his guest wrestlers that he had on. So I finished all of those. And then if I'm not doing that and I'm with friends, oh my God, we just yap the entire time. I don't know how we don't run out of things to yap. Between me, Perry Von Vicious, Rip Bison, and Johnny Torres, like we can just talk forever.
I have to ask about this bread cake that Satoshi Kojima had. Did you get a piece of this?
I did after my match. After I lost, I ate my feelings.
I'm gonna pull this up for everybody. Let me download it. So for people that don't know what I'm talking about, so Satoshi Kojima, MLW World Heavyweight Champion, big fan of bread. I think everybody knows that. So MLW actually made him a Wonder bread cake. So you can see it there. This thing looks amazing. Do you know who made this? Is my other question.
I don't know who made that, but if you look in the corner, there's also a miniature Wonder Bread cake as well. And then they got him like the Jellycat bread slices for gifts. It was so cute. So they put us all in the room and they're like, all right, we're gonna sing happy birthday, like birthday party. And it was one of those like office birthday parties where you like all get in the room, but no one actually coordinates what's gonna happen when they walk in and you yell surprise. So we all go surprise, and then it's this awkward pause and he's like happy, and no one starts singing happy birthday. So my brain just goes, Otanjobi omedetou, which is happy birthday in Japanese, and everyone just claps along, but no one can join in because I picked the one language knows.
I love it.
All I can say is he was happy.
And the
You said something in Japanese. He got a bread cake. This seems like it was his birthday. He defended the title. He didn't lose, so it's a good day.
Big day for the big star.
I think technically that makes you #1 contender for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship.
Heck yeah, I'll take it.
Listen, Lucha Apocalypto is coming up. It's Saturday, November the 9th in Chicago at Cicero Stadium. You get your tickets at luchatickets.com. They start at $10. Delmi, what are you going to do at the show? Can you give us a scoop of any kind coming into this thing?
I'm going to get in the wrestling ring. That's all I got for now.
Shit, you heard it here first.
I don't want to spoil anything. But I'll get back on the side.
Might do some moves, maybe. Might just stand there. We don't know. Tune in.
Might be a promo. We don't know.
Yeah. I'll be in my boots.
Bring your gear.
Should we do Triple P, Jeremy?
Yes, go for it.
All right, tell me, you know the game. It's partner promo or punch in the face. It's back one more time. You pick 3 people I've got for you. You're going to pick which one you're going to partner with in the ring in a tag team match, which one you're going to punch in the face in a singles match, and which one you're going to have a promo off on the microphone. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Janai Kai, Miyu Yamashita, Shaza McKenzie. Partner, promo, punch in the face.
Okay, I'm punching Janai in the face.
Sounds about right.
And then I'm partnering with Miyu, and then I'm going back and forth with Shaza because that's going to be some entertaining beef.
Well, I have to, on the subject of Shaza, I have to ask you what I asked our previous guest, Sean Logan. Does she share her Nerd Cluster gummies with you?
I actually had them this time.
Oh,
that is my ADHD crack that I use to like concentrate to call matches and like go over in my head what I'm doing, my game plan. So that is actually what I use. So we shared, but yes, I think that's like the super popular candy right now amongst wrestlers. It used to be Sour Patch Kids. Now it is Nerd Clusters.
I got a bag the other day and I was like, oh, I'm going to, enjoy this, make it last. And I'll share it with my wife and kids. Nah, I ate that thing in like 30 minutes. It was all gone. I didn't share it all with them.
You got to get the one with the Ziploc so you can at least like try to contain yourself.
Oh, I do. It doesn't help.
We're not in a self-control business.
Yeah.
Oh, well, listen, before we let you go, we want you to plug all your stuff. Of course, again, thank you for hanging out with us this morning. Go ahead, plug everything.
All right. Thank you so much again for having me over on Fightful Overbooked. You can follow me at Delmi Exo, written right here, on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I'll be out and about all over the Northeast for the rest of the month of October and back in Chicago in November.
There you go. MLW's Lucha Apocalyptico is again November. What? I don't know what month it is anymore. It's November the 9th. That's a Saturday. It's going to be in Chicago at Cicero Stadium. Go check that out, and go check out Delmi and everything she's up to. Again, congratulations on the deal, and looking forward to doing this again with you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Delmi.
you again. I'm going to pop her off this time. That's right, because she's in something. We always don't know who's going to. Is it going to be them? Is it going to be us? And then, when she was doing this was my high sign that I was going to do the thing. So, again, thank you to Delmi Exo for joining us. Congratulations to her once again for her new re-signing with MLW, and thanks to MLW, of course, for having her come and join us this morning. Always fun time chatting up with her.
Delmi is fantastic. It's congratulations to her about signing the new deal. Yes, that broke. Like Sean had the news. Sean had the news before I did of when Delmi was going to be on. I was like, it's our show. I don't even know when she's going to be on. Sean's like, yeah, 11:30. That's when he was promoting on Fightful Select, and then I got the confirmation. I was like, okay. Apparently, Sean knows all this as usual before we do. But it was great to have Delmi back on. Great to catch up with her. And if you see Delmi, give her a bag of Nerd Cluster gummies. I'm gonna get all the wrestlers to just continue to embrace the Nerd Cluster gummies, and then be that the gift from the fans. So that's an actual good gift, unlike what they might receive from others.
It's amazing that she calls it like the ADHD helper, and I'm like, the sugar is what does it of all things. There's nothing.
That's a thing though. That's like a thing.
I don't know that. I'm not ADHD. Minded. I don't have that going on in my head. I don't know that.
Yeah, that's a thing of like people who have ADHD. Like sugar is actually like calming.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's something I'm gonna have to look more into, because I'm like 98% sure that my son's gonna have ADHD. But that's just because he's a toddler right now, and like it's just what happens. Anyway, good time. Yeah, it was.
Well, maybe you didn't smack him in the head with a fridge door. He'd be all right.
Just give him some Terramana. It's good shit.
That's what they need the mana.
That's right. Yeah, it was very funny yesterday when you were like, okay, Delmi's going to join us. She's re-signing with MLW. Great, that's wonderful. And then Sean drops the Fightful Select post about her re-signing, and at the end it says Delmi's going to join In the Weeds at 11:30 a.m. Eastern to talk about the new deal. And then Jeremy, like 2 hours later, was like, Delmi at 11:30, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Sean already announced it to everyone else.
I got the confirmation at 11:30, but apparently Sean got the confirmation before I did, which, sure, fair.
Listen, it's not the first time we've had this. Remember Steve Macklin? Anyway.
Oh boy, do I remember the Steve Macklin interview. Not a bad way with Macklin.
No, not at all. Love Macklin.
Boy, do I remember how that went.
But I like this. I don't mind pulling back this curtain a little bit. It got to the point where I had to DM Macklin and say, hey, are we interviewing you at this time tomorrow? And he was like, yep. I'm like, is it about your new contract? Yep. All right, just checking in. And that's how we got to figuring out what was going on.
That should be. That's yeah, your kid wakes up and the first thing out of his mouth is just mana. You got to bring him the Terramana.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
God damn, that's good shit.
I'm gonna have to find the Terramana. I gotta do this on air. I gotta drink the mana on air and see if it's really good shit.
You're gonna have to do it going into his next match, whenever that next match is.
Oh, that's not until WrestleMania. So.
Well, there you go. You have until WrestleMania to find a bottle.
Who do you think they sends Cody all the gifts? What friend sends Cody all the Rock's products?
Sammy Guevara.
You think it's Guevara? I thought it was Cardona. It feels like something Cardona would do.
Is there a Rock Disneyland character? Because if so, that thing's been in every mailbox in Cody's yard.
Sends him like a bunch of Maui figures and stuff. That's how I sold them. Yeah, that's how I sold the kids. The kids, we were watching Bad Bloods on Saturday, so they could stay up and like watch it and everything. I've taught them all. Like we're watching TV when Roman comes out. I've taught them all to put the 1 in the air So I'm very proud of myself for teaching them that. Father of the year over here. I taught him to call Cody a dork. So very proud of that as well. They're like, oh, there's that dork Cody Rhodes, and they throw the one up at him. Like, yeah, we acknowledge the tribal chief. But they were about to go to bed, and like it was pretty obvious that The Rock was gonna appear. I was like, no, you guys can stay up. Maui's gonna appear. Like, oh, Maui, that's great. Because the last time he was on the show, it was WrestleMania, and that was late. It was Sunday night. It's a Saturday night as well, but like they didn't care. It was school and everything.
What about the Raw after Mania, where they did the 40 minutes at the top?
No, they don't like watching like the weekly stuff. They were hanging out with us, so
Okay.
we're like, oh, again, Roman. They're getting into it. Might have problems on my hands here in the next few months and years. But anyway, I'm like, Maui's gonna show up. Maui, like, oh, Maui, and then like The Rock comes out. I was like, that's Maui. And they're like, that's not Maui.
Maui's bigger than this guy.
That's Maui. And then he didn't talk, so they couldn't hear the voice. So the wife had to play like a clip of The Rock talking, and had to find like a clean version because the final boss didn't really say clean words. So yeah, it found a clip like, oh, okay, I can hear that being Maui. So we'll have the kids drink the mana. Like, here we go. Let's just drink the mana and get all the kids on there.
Mana Zero?
Do you think that's a thing?
Not at all. No, not yet.
Yeah.
Is there? I don't think there's an alcohol-free tequila out there.
Like a virgin tequila?
I feel like that's not a thing.
I feel like if I Google virgin tequila, I don't know what's going to come up.
Why don't you just search alcohol-free tequila?
You can get a virgin tequila sunrise. What is that? Just like a sunrise with no tequila?
Ritual zero proof tequila alternative.
What?
$57. There's a whiskey,
$57.
a gin, a rum.
Imagine paying $57 not to get drunk. That sounds terrible.
It's like near beer. Rum cocktails without compromise.
Does it taste like that? A lot of this shit's expensive. Jeez.
Question I never know the answer to. How does it taste? No and low calorie, 1 to 2 grams of sugar, all natural flavors, diet friendly. Cocktail connoisseurs will love it, and it's gluten free.
Oh,
there you go, Ritual. Send me your money for that free promotional baggage you just provided me. UpsideDrinks.ca. Oh, there's Sobri Zero Gin. $35.
Zero gin? What'd you
It's
say?
like zero.
Like surgeon?
Zero gin.
Like it has no gin?
Yeah, it's a distilled.
Rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping on zero gin, laid back.
Apparently, it's Ontario too. Zero gin is distilled using a traditional blend of botanicals, including juniper berries, coriander, allspice, star anise. Also added is Canadian ginseng grown in Ontario to create a unique Canadian flavor to give a nod to our natural heritage. Free shipping in Canada for over $55 orders. So in other words, this is $35 Canadian.
So you got to buy 2 bottles.
So you got to buy 2 bottles to get it. There's a 200 milliliter and there's a 750. So I can get a 750 and a 200 and that'll make it enough. This all sounds awful.
Just
Tanqueray.
Tanqueray.
That's actual. No, that's actual gin.
Avalanche player, Alex Tanqueray.
That's not exactly, but okay. Alcohol content 0 to 0.5. This is wild.
Mana.
They don't have it. They don't have zero mana.
They should. Zero mana.
There we go. Spiritless Jalisco.
Everyone's got the mana if you just believe. No one should ever have zero mana. You listening to this, watching this right now, if you believe, if you think you can do it, if you truly want to do it, you can do it. You can have the mana. Mana is not an alcohol. It is. But it's also just a state of being.
That's true. Well, we don't have anything else to talk about. We've done it all. Friday's going to be a hell of a show at this rate.
Got plans for Friday.
We got big plans for Friday?
No, absolutely not. Big plans for the show.
I don't know. Maybe we'll do an ask us segment.
No,
It
I'm
always
working
goes
on
over
guests.
really well.
I'm working on some guests.
Yeah, you got some
Might
guests.
have
Okay.
one, might have two. We're gonna talk about the Tony Khan media call. That's all we're gonna
Well,
do.
that's true. We're going
We're
to
gonna
talk
break
about
down the Tony Khan media call.
TNA and the Tony Khan media call.
We're not talking about TNA.
Why
No.
not? This is going to be the moment.
Absolutely not. I refuse to talk about TNA.
Ryan's going to bring talking points for Friday's
No
show.
PowerPoint presentation.
No, we don't talk about that guy anymore.
We're not gonna talk about TNA. Not
Oh,
to.
God.
I won't allow it.
No, you won't allow it? Okay. We'll talk about hockey. We'll talk about the Ottawa Senators.
That's fine. I mean,
Drive
unless the Avs
this
lose
coming
tonight,
up.
then I won't talk about it.
That's fine. Hopefully the Avs win. Hopefully the Sens win, and then we'll be able to talk about it. We'll talk about Rampage spoilers.
That sounds terrible.
I know, doesn't it? There's nothing else that I can really think of that I really want to talk about on this
It's
show.
Wrestle Dream weekend. We'll preview Wrestle Dream.
You Wrestle Dream, of
There's
course.
like 800 matches.
Oh, not yet, but there probably will be.
There already is.
No, that's 3. There aren't that many. Hold on. Before we get out of here, let's just take a look at the All Elite Wrestling website.
Okay. No, don't go to the website because they don't update that thing.
Yeah, they've done a
How
pretty
many are
good
they
job.
listing on the website?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the only they haven't added the one new match.
They have 10
And that includes
matches?
the 0 hour. Yeah, one is the 0 hour match, the Atlantis versus Brian Cage.
All right, let me tell you how
And
many.
Swerve returns.
Yeah. They got more than 10.
Do they? Well, again, there's only
7,
8 matches plus the
9, 10.
0 hours here.
There's 11 total things with Swerve's return being one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, it's just the Mortos and hologram 2 out of 3. That's the only thing missing from the AEW website.
They're gonna have Statlander's gonna be on there, whether it's Camille or Mercedes. She's gonna be on there.
I think it should be Camille. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, they're gonna add what else? Oh, you know what they're adding? I know what they're adding to 0 hour. I did see this off the Rampage spoilers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we won't.
I'm
we
gonna
won't
spoil it. Like, if you don't want a 0 hour Wrestle Dream spoiler, mute yourself or mute me, whatever. Mute the MXM collection against the Acclaimed. Apologies for those of you who are super excited for this 0 hour match.
Winner gets daddy ass in the divorce.
I mean, there's not a divorce though.
We'll see. I will look forward to Tony Khan using Mason as a Jacksonville Jaguar in more talking points.
Oh man, this media call.
Well, you got 4 hours until it happens. So
Nope.
for now, you can go take a nap.
I am gonna take a nap, maybe.
It starts at 4. It's 4 hours.
I know what time it starts.
Well,
I'm hip to the times.
I said you got 4 hours to take a nap. You were like,
Allegedly.
nope. And I thought you meant that's because you can't nap. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's part of the problem. Is
that's
I can't take a nap.
understandable.
Stuff to do. Always
Listen.
something to do, Joel.
Listen, 27 kids, they're all at school. You can take a nap.
Allegedly.
Anyway, got anything else we can add before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
We'll be back.
You gotta leave.
Yeah, I got to feed the kid. He's at home today. He's
Give him
not,
the mana.
not doing that. He's not feeling great, but he's starting to feel better. So that's the good news. He's congested.
Banned. Absolutely banned.
Oh man, this is a Friday conversation. Naps are not overrated, but you cannot over nap.
What?
There's a sweet spot to napping. If you nap for 90 minutes, you're going to wake up groggy and gross.
Not me.
Well, everyone's different then. And I get it.
Kill.
I'm also the type of person who's like, I'm going to take a nap today. I'm going to do this. And then I don't. And I will have been up from like 5 a.m. until 11.
Yeah.
And then I'm done. Like, that's just the way things go sometimes.
I was trying to take a nap yesterday. I never got there.
That's just what, yeah. When does a nap not become a nap, become not a nap? 2 hours. When your watch says you achieved REM sleep, that's when a nap is not a nap.
2 hours. That's when it becomes like sleep. I feel like you can have a 2 hour nap.
It's not healthy.
Why?
That just means you didn't sleep well the night before.
Well,
Whatever. This is a larger conversation for another time. Maybe this is a Friday conversation. Let's put
let's
a pin
all
in it.
drink a bunch of mana and go
I'm
to
more
sleep.
likely to sleep well. That's right. Actually, you get drunk, you don't sleep that well, unless you're on on a boat. Talk about
You're
that.
getting the wrong kind of drunk if you
I
don't
got
sleep well.
I would get wine drunk, and I would do that.
What's in the bottle there, Joel?
Terramana.
Nice.
That's how I do. Have a Zoa, have some mana, have some Zoa mana, and then we're back. Oh, that's good. All right.
What's good?
I'll tell you off the air.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's good news.
Pertain to me?
I mean, kind of, but we'll see. It's a long-term thing. Are we good? You got everything out of your system here?
What is this? Who stole our bit?
Who do you think stole our bit? Who do you think stole our bit? Oh, anyway, for Jeremy Lambert, I am Actual Pearl, JOELPEARL. We're back on Friday. What we talk about? Big old toss-up. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Go Abs!